Now let's talk about service principle. Service principle as well has often been known to contribute to greatness in nearly every areas of life, be it in relationship, within communities, within organizations, within society, and as well within business growth. Service principle isn't something that one could in one way or the other push aside when it comes to discussing or highlighting principles tailored towards primary greatness in life. Service principle is based on the desire to serve or help others towards positive contribution to a society or to an organization. No greatness comes in isolation of serving others or helping others. So it is important to see how best one could incorporate service principles into his or her attributes or into his or her qualities or character, as it may be. Those who actually develop service principles, they look for opportunity to serve or to help others. That's why in most instances in every organization, those whom you often see at the top of the hierarchy, in one way or the other, are people who often shows the willingness or who often have these service principles embedded in their attributes. They are the people that looks out for opportunity to serve the society, to serve the organization in such a way that will contribute positively to such society or to such organization. Meanwhile, there are people who often focuses on what to get out of whatever opportunity. And these are not those with service principles. Those who have service principles in their attribute, they could focus more on what to give rather than what to get. And thus they utilize their resources towards service orientations. Talk about their time, talk about their finances, talk about ideas, whatever ideas they have, which include commendations. They use it in serving others, in helping others, or in helping their societies, or in helping their organizations. And one thing about those who have service principles embedded in their attributes is the fact that easily they often attain primary greatness in life, most especially when the other principles are being incorporated into their qualities or into their attributes. And meanwhile, there are some other people, as I've earlier mentioned, when they see an opportunity to serve, the first thing that comes to their mind is, what would they get out of it? That is, take for instance, they're taking up a position. First thing that would come to their mind is, how will they utilize that service to their own benefit primarily, without seeing how best to give to other people, without seeing how best to contribute to the society, without seeing how best to contribute to their organizations. Take for instance, there are instances where people are being promoted within an organization. They are being promoted perhaps maybe to head the financial aspect of such organization. Someone who has service principles embedded in his or her attributes, his major focus would be how to ensure smooth financial running of the organizations, such a way that the organization will keep making growth, will keep recording growth over years to come, and thus be able to sustain his or her values, his or her integrities, and all others which he has built in relation to his identity over the long haul. Well, there are some other people, when they have such opportunities, the first thing that comes to their mind is they look for opportunities to siphon or perhaps to take away from the organizations, even if such would meant that the company would close up. They wouldn't mind. So all they do is they see how best to siphon what they can't get at every instances of time, is what is often at the back of their mind. And before you realize it, such ones, they attain success, but in one way or the other, it's not primary success, but rather that of secondary success, because such success doesn't last long. It's often short-lived. And before you realize it, the business that serves as their source of income, they tend to cripple such business, and they tend as well to sabotage their own personal identity, and in one way or the other, they tend to lose their own values. So thereby subjecting them to primary sources or to secondary sources, which doesn't stand the test of time. But to those who have service principles embedded in their qualities, in their attributes, when they are given opportunity to serve, what often comes to their mind is how would they utilize such opportunities to contribute to the growth of their organizations, to ensure that the organization or the society benefits from their opportunity or from the privilege given to them to serve. And before you realize it, when they focus on that service, when they have service principles embedded in their attributes, before you realize it, they will be able to record sources, primary sources, over the long period of time. That's why you see people in most instances, most especially the great leaders who have actually embedded service principles in their attributes. You see them thriving years after years. Even at old age, you still see people organizations reaching out to them to see how best they can benefit from their wealth of experience and how best they can tap from their knowledge. But in instances where one who doesn't have such attributes or such principles embedded in his attributes, and thus takes perhaps live from the perspective of concave or convex paradigm, which is tailored towards immediate benefits, siphon these organizations' resources towards the crippling of such company, no doubt about the fact that no one will go to meet such person at a later time, or no organization will go ahead and meet such person for consultations on how best they could grow their own personal business, or perhaps how to record sources in their financial aspect of life, or in the financial aspect of their organization. So service principle has a major role to play. And when it comes to business growth, service principle helps in focusing on your customer satisfactions. There are instances in which most times business owners, or perhaps people in one way or the other, like I earlier made mention of the tourist store scenarios on a specific street, in which one tends to focus more on the implementations of fairness principle, and while the others seems not to be so care about it. You realize when you focus more on your customer satisfaction, which is always tailored towards service principles, you realize business will by default keeps growing, because people love it when you show the willingness to serve them, when you show the willingness that when you let them realize their interest matters, you are here to serve them. Take for instance, you step into any customer service sections of an office, and the first questions after such customer officers politely put a smile on his or her face and exchange pleasantries with you, and he asks you, how well can we be of help to you, or how well can we serve you today? No doubt you feel much more at home as compared to when you stepped into something similar, but the other person just put on, they really don't care as much as the first instance. No doubt you feel more at home in a place where they make you feel that they are willing to help, they are willing to serve you. So you can as well see how best you can raise questions. How can we serve you better on the scale of 1 to 10? Most especially when you're having a business and you have a small scale business, or whichever it is, ask your customers how best to serve them, and before you realize it, you'll be growing your business. And you want to identify how you can help within your company or your business environment. You want to as well identify how you would love to be served or helped, and make that your own service principles. So no doubt about the fact that service principle has a major role to play, be it in personal relationship, be it in business relationship.